Hi, my name is Dave Annell. Welcome to episode 22 of Setting the Record Straight. I realise that I've been a bit quiet on here recently. In fact, I'm painfully aware that this is my first video of 2024. All I can say is that it's been a crazy few months. This episode is a little bit different from the previous ones. Let me know in the comments what you think. This is Fore Street in the Hertfordshire town of Hatfield. If you know Hatfield at all, you'll probably know it as one of Hertfordshire's many new towns, and you might not expect it to have any streets like this. Fore Street leads from Hatfield Old Town up to the back entrance to Hatfield House, the home from the early 17th century of the Cecil family, the Earls of Salisbury. It also leads up to Hatfield's ancient parish church. During the mid-19th century, Fore Street was the residence of a somewhat less famous family, one that I've been researching recently, the Tapp family. And as I happened to find myself in the area yesterday, I decided to have a quick walk around and pop into the churchyard to see if I could find any members of the Tapp family in there, or at least their graves. I knew from the parish register that Joshua Tapp, his second wife Sarah, and at least two of his children had been buried there. So please join me now on a brief stroll around a typical Hertfordshire churchyard. Welcome to Fore Street in Hatfield. At the top of the road, you'll see some of the buildings that make up the Hatfield House estate. I think this is the tradesman's entrance. But I'm going to take a right turn here and enter the churchyard of the ancient parish of St Etheldreda's, Bishop's Hatfield. It's the official name of the parish, but it's locally known as St Eth's. I'm hoping to find a gravestone of the Tapp family here, but any hope that I have quickly evaporates when I see the state of the stones. As you can see, there are lots of standing graves in this north section of the churchyard, along with a few chest tombs, but unfortunately, not too many of them are particularly legible. They appear to be mainly 17th and 18th century stones, and 200 or 300 years of Hertfordshire weather has not been particularly kind to them. There's some lovely stonework on some of them, which I'd love to take a closer look at if I had a bit more time. Just walking around the back of the church at the east end now. There are a few more stones here, again, not much that's legible. Then we come to a fenced-off section of the churchyard, which, as you can see, has a gate leading to it from the Hatfield House side. This is the private burial ground of the Cecil family, the Earls of Salisbury. You might just be able to make out a stonemason working on one of the grand chest tombs there. We're now on the south side of the church, in what is probably the busiest section of the churchyard as far as gravestones are concerned. There are a few up the top here where we can read the inscriptions, but the vast majority are illegible, or at least would require better light and perhaps specialist equipment to allow us to read anything. I have to say that at this point I was feeling like the search for a gravestone relating to the Tapp family was probably going to be in vain. Even if there was a surviving stone, and I had no way of knowing whether there was or not, this is one of the few Hertfordshire churchyards where the Hertfordshire Family History Society hasn't done a survey and transcribed all the stones. But even if there was one, there were just too many that were completely illegible. But I'm always happy in a churchyard, so I kept wandering and looking at the few stones which did actually have some legible text. St Etheldreda's is surrounded by some lovely vernacular architecture, particularly this stunning half-timbered cottage at the west end of the churchyard. So I kept looking. As I was walking down the slope here, I noticed what looked like an extension to the right of the timbered cottage, an annex which looked worth investigating. I continued down to the old cottage and imagined living there. What a view. I'd come down to the path leading to the annex now, but I was quickly disappointed by the almost complete absence of gravestones. Just a few dotted around here and there. But the ones that I could see were well, they at least appeared to be 19th century stones, and they were mostly quite easy to read. So I pressed on. Just a few stones left now. Charles Hart. Nope. A nice ornate but pretty illegible stone propped up against a tree. John Gillam. Nope. So I approached the last stone, and as I got closer, the name Tap jumped out at me. And there it was, the very last stone in the churchyard. The stone commemorates Joshua's first wife, Hannah, who had died in Lee in Kent in 1845, about 10 years before the family moved to Hatfield. It also records his second wife, Sarah, who died in 1867. Joshua himself, who actually died in Islington in 1898 but was buried here, and Elizabeth Martha, Joshua and Hannah's third daughter, who died in Deptford in 1905. One of Joshua's sons, Edwin Joseph, died in 1916 and was also buried in the churchyard here, but isn't commemorated on the stone. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our little stroll around the churchyard. I'll be back soon with another episode of Setting the Record Straight.